Have you ever seen someone's response so shocking that it completely changes the course of an entire situation? Well, that's exactly what happened in a shopping mall this Christmas season. In a world where tensions can run high, especially during the holiday rush, what do you do when you're suddenly confronted with prejudice or hostility in public? Imagine a typical holiday shopping day filled with cheer and excitement, but then, out of nowhere, a confrontation that shocks everyone around. In today's video, we'll take you inside a dramatic moment when a white woman publicly insults a black man while he's trying to shop for Christmas gifts. But what happens next will leave you speechless. Stick around because what unfolds is more than just an exchange of words. The man's unexpected reaction might just surprise you, and it left everyone in the mall questioning their assumptions. Stay with us till the end to discover the truth behind this shocking encounter and how one man's response turned a moment of tension into something unforgettable. It's a typical day at the mall, right in the middle of the Christmas season. The air is filled with excitement, and the buzz of holiday shoppers can be heard everywhere. The aisles are crowded with people, some rushing from store to store, others leisurely strolling, searching for the perfect gift. Everywhere you look, there's something that catches your eye: brightly colored decorations, twinkling lights, and the scent of fresh pine filling the air. People are in a good mood. The holiday spirit is contagious. You hear the sound of laughter, the jingle of bells, and the joyful greetings exchanged between strangers. It's that time of year when even small acts of kindness, like holding the door for someone or offering a smile, feel more significant. The atmosphere is warm, filled with good intentions as families and friends prepare for the celebrations ahead. People are excited whether they're picking out gifts for their loved ones, planning holiday meals, or simply enjoying the magic of the season. As you move through the crowds, there's a sense of unity. In a world where everyone seems to be in a hurry, Christmas offers a brief escape, a moment where people come together despite their differences. It's supposed to be a time of peace and joy, where kindness is abundant and everyone is just trying to spread some cheer. But of course, in every crowd, there's always a chance that things can take an unexpected turn. And in this busy festive setting, that's exactly what happened. Amid the bustling crowd, two people are moving through the mall, each lost in their own thoughts, their own tasks. The first is a white woman casually dressed in a red sweater and black jeans, her arms full of shopping bags as she walks through the aisles. She looks just like any other shopper, perhaps a little overwhelmed by the chaos of the season, but content nonetheless. She's focused on the task at hand, getting the right gifts for family and friends, making sure she gets them wrapped in time for Christmas Day. Like most of the people around her, she's simply trying to get through her list, squeezing in a little last-minute shopping, while trying to keep the holiday stress to a minimum. The second person is a black man dressed in a dark jacket and jeans, with a look of quiet determination on his face as he walks through the mall. He's a little more relaxed, taking in the festive atmosphere around him, but focused on finding that one special gift. His face carries a mix of thoughtfulness and calm, perhaps thinking about his family, wondering if he's found the perfect thing for them. The man is no different from any other shopper in the mall. He's just another person trying to make the most of the holiday season. As both of them move in opposite directions, their paths are about to cross in a way neither of them expected. The woman, noticing the man ahead of her, makes a sudden, sharp move. At first it seems completely random, a simple passerby's gesture, one person walking past another without giving it much thought. But she doesn't just walk past him. She slows down, then stops altogether, blocking his path. He pauses, unsure of what to make of it, and for a brief moment, the world around them seems to fade into the background, the noise of the mall and the chatter of the crowd disappearing as this strange encounter begins. The woman stares at him for a second, her expression unreadable at first, but then something shifts. Her face hardens and she says something. The words are sharp, almost cutting, and there's an edge to her voice. The black man, taken aback, seems to hesitate for just a split second. It's not clear yet exactly what she said, but there's no mistaking the attitude behind her tone. It's clear from the way she stands, arms crossed, eyes narrowed, that this is no ordinary interaction. She seems to be confronting him, though the reason behind it is still unclear. What is clear is that this encounter, this brief moment in a busy mall, is about to turn into something much more than a random interaction. The woman now, standing directly in front of the man, doesn't let him pass. She looks him up and down, her eyes, scanning his clothing with an expression of clear disapproval. Her gaze lingers on his jacket, then drops to his shoes, as if judging every part of his appearance. It's subtle at first, but her body language says it all, arms folded tightly, lips pressed into a thin line. She's not just looking, she's sizing him up, making snap judgments about him based on his appearance alone. Without warning, she speaks. Her voice cuts through the holiday hustle around them, and it's harsh. "You don't belong here." She says, the words falling from her lips like an accusation. The tone is not one of curiosity or even frustration. It's one of clear judgment. "What are you even doing in this store? This isn't a place for someone like you." Her words hit like a slap in the face. The man, clearly caught off guard, takes a step back, confusion written across his face. He looks around, almost as if searching for someone to explain what just happened. But no one speaks up. The crowd continues to bustle by, oblivious to the growing tension between them. It's a moment that should have been a simple, uneventful interaction, but instead, it's turning into something much uglier. As she continues, her insults become more pointed, more blatant. She accuses him of being out of place, questioning why someone like him would be in a store that she seems to believe is meant for others. "What are you even buying? This is a high-end store, not some cheap shop." She scoffs, her voice dripping with disdain. The man stands still, not knowing how to respond to this barrage of unnecessary hostility. Around them, people start to notice. At first, it's just a few glances, curious, confused stares from those walking by. But soon more heads turn. Whispers begin to spread through the crowd, and the once festive atmosphere starts to shift. The noise of the mall feels quieter now, as if everyone is waiting for something to happen. Some people stop in their tracks, unsure whether to intervene or just watch. The woman's behavior is drawing attention, and it's becoming clear that this exchange isn't going to end quickly. The tension in the air is palpable. The man looks at her, perhaps searching for a sign that this is all just a misunderstanding, but there's no softening in her expression. Her gaze is cold, her words cruel, and her intent undeniably prejudiced. The black man stands still for a moment, processing what has just been said to him. His eyes narrow slightly, not in anger, but in confusion. He's trying to understand how a simple trip to the mall to buy a few Christmas gifts has turned into this confrontation. For a brief second, it almost seems like he's going to walk away, ignore the woman, and continue with his day. After all, this kind of thing happens, sometimes, doesn't it? People say things, make assumptions, and most of the time, it's easier to just brush it off. But this situation feels different. As the woman's words hang in the air, he takes a slow, steady breath. There's a calmness in his posture, but something about him has shifted. People around them are still watching, but now there's a growing sense of anticipation. What will he do? How will he respond to this woman's rude, prejudiced remarks? Just as it seems like the tension is about to break, the man surprises everyone. Instead of reacting with anger, frustration, or even a defensive response, he does something completely unexpected. His lips curl into a slight, almost imperceptible smile, not a smile of mockery, but one of quiet resolve. It's a look that says he's not rattled by the woman's words, but more importantly, it signals that he's about to do something that no one in the surrounding crowd can predict. He doesn't raise his voice. He doesn't shout, argue, or even try to explain himself. His response is measured, controlled, yet there's something powerful in it. The crowd, which had been murmuring in confusion, begins to quiet down. Eyes are fixed on him, every person wondering how this encounter is going to unfold. The man steps closer to the woman, but not aggressively. His movement is deliberate, calculated. He speaks softly, but his words carry weight, as though each one is chosen with care. It's the kind of response that commands attention, not through force, but through calm authority. His voice doesn't tremble, doesn't betray any hint of the frustration or anger that could easily have taken over. And yet there's a fire behind his eyes, a quiet strength. It's almost as if he's in complete control of the situation, and in doing so he shifts the power dynamic entirely. The woman who had been the aggressor is now thrown off balance. Her gaze falters, her posture stiffening, as she seems to realize that her attempt to provoke him has backfired. The crowd, too, is in disbelief. Some are stunned by the man's calmness, others by the sheer presence he exudes. No one expected this. As the man speaks, the crowd around them begins to shift, its collective energy palpable. At first, it's just a few people, their heads turning slowly to witness the unfolding exchange. A couple of shoppers glance up from their shopping, eyes widening as they try to understand what's happening. Some are frozen, unsure whether to step in or simply observe from a distance. Others pause, their curiosity piqued by the unusual tension between the two strangers. The air feels different now. The once lively chatter of the mall seems muffled as the crowd starts to take notice. Whispers ripple through the bystanders. Some are clearly shocked, their faces betraying a mix of disbelief and discomfort at the unexpected confrontation. The woman, once loud and confident in her insults, now seems less certain. Her posture stiffens as the man responds with quiet authority, and it's clear that her power in the situation is beginning to slip away. The crowd's reaction to her behavior is shifting, and the weight of their collective gaze seems to be pressing on her. A few people who had initially walked by without paying attention now stop and watch more closely. There's a subtle shift in the atmosphere. Some people exchange glances, their faces showing signs of concern, as if they are silently asking one another, is this really happening? The tension is almost tangible as everyone waits to see what will happen next. Then something surprising begins to unfold. A man nearby, likely in his late 30s, shifts closer to the scene. He doesn't speak at first, but his expression softens as he observes the interaction. After a moment, he nods slightly, a silent gesture of support for the black man. His posture relaxes, and though he doesn't say a word, his presence seems to carry a message. This isn't right. A woman standing beside him, her arms full of shopping bags, watches the situation unfold as well. She glances at the woman who started the confrontation, her brow furrowing. Slowly, she steps forward, as if considering whether to intervene. More people in the crowd begin to take notice. A couple of teens who had been absorbed in their phones just moments earlier look up in shock. One of them whispers something to their friend, their faces now serious, their phones forgotten in their hands. It's as though they've been awakened to the situation, and they too feel the weight of what's happening. The shift is subtle, but undeniable. The crowd, once passive, is now divided. Some still stand back, unsure of what to do. Others are beginning to lean toward the man, silently supporting his calm, composed response. Their presence is felt. More people are starting to understand that what they're witnessing isn't just a confrontation, but a moment where right and wrong are being tested. And in the silence that follows, the crowd seems to collectively hold its breath. In moments like these, it's easy to think that our response to unfairness is just a matter of what we say. But the truth is, sometimes it's not about raising your voice or fighting fire with fire. It's about something deeper. The man's response wasn't loud, nor was it filled with anger. It was calm, controlled, and above all, unexpected. In a world where we're often encouraged to react in anger or frustration when faced with injustice, his response reminds us that strength doesn't always have to be aggressive. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is stand your ground with dignity and quiet confidence. The way he responded, without shouting, without attacking the woman in return, shifted the power dynamic in a way that no one could have predicted. His words, though calm, carried weight. They didn't escalate the situation, but instead they diffused it. He showed that words can be more than just weapons. They can be tools of change, of control. His reaction, rooted in strength and self-respect, shifted the moment entirely. This exchange highlights the profound impact of how we choose to respond to others. The man's grace under pressure changed the way the people around him viewed the situation. It made them pause, reflect, and question their own reactions to such moments. It's a reminder that when faced with prejudice or disrespect, we don't always have to react in anger or confrontation. Instead, we can find power in choosing not to engage in the same negative energy. Sometimes simply standing tall and responding with integrity can change the course of a situation. So, what would you have done in this situation? Would you have reacted with anger? Or would you have found a way to stay calm and shift the dynamic with your own strength? Think about it. How often do we allow ourselves to be caught up in moments of hostility when we could instead respond with grace? The power of words and actions is often underestimated, but as we've seen today, the right response can have a lasting impact. To recap, what began as a simple shopping trip turned into an unexpected moment of tension. A white woman stopped a black man in the middle of a busy mall, insulting him for what seemed like an arbitrary reason: his presence in a store and his appearance. But instead of reacting with anger or defensiveness, the man responded in a way that no one saw coming. He didn't escalate the situation. Instead, his calm, controlled response changed the entire dynamic of the encounter, leaving the crowd around them in awe. The impact was immediate. What could have been a confrontation turned into a moment of reflection for everyone who witnessed it. His strength in the face of adversity not only shifted the power balance, but also reminded us all of the importance of how we respond to challenges. Sometimes standing your ground with dignity can be the most powerful way to handle disrespect. Remember, how we respond to challenges can speak volumes. What's your take on this incident? Let us know in the comments below. If you found this story impactful, make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more thought-provoking content. Please note that this video is not based on a real story. The events described are fictional and created for entertainment and educational purposes. Thank you for watching.